welcome and thank you for coming today. And welcome to my channel. I am Jackie Horton, your virtual wellness and health specialist. As always, I would just like to repeat why I'm here. My goal is to promote wellness and health, to amplify long-standing solutions, and to uplift those things that are positive that we can continue to build upon. So today is Mental Health Monday. Okay, it's always a fun topic, right? However, I try to make it lighthearted so we can get to some matters really quickly. I do not talk about diagnosis, even though I am a trained therapist. I talk about the symptoms or the behaviors as a result of some diagnosis or the result of some things that have not been resolved. So today's segment is going to be about constitutional mindsets. Now, what do you think of when you think of constitution? Sorry about the camera. So, what do you think of when you think of the word constitution? I often use that word to really solidify what I see when a person is coming to me for some real serious issues. And I use the word to order for the person to see just how deeply ingrained this constitution of how to govern him or herself operates. So with any form of governing, we look at the constitutional rights are, ways that a law is applied, principles are applied, duties are given, and so forth. Is a way that it's kind of like our modus operandus, right? And you may think that you don't have one, but I can assure you that we all have had one of these moments or several of these moments where we made some constitutional statements in order to govern ourselves. So let me ask you some questions and see if one of them resonate with you. Have any of you ever said something like, "I'll never let that happen to me again"? Or another one, "I would never give my love to another person the way I did with my ex." Or even this one, "Oh, you'll never catch me slipping again. Promise." Or one that's a little bit positive. My way works. Is the right My way is the right way to work. So let's keep doing it. So having worked with a spectrum of clients, I have found lurking underneath the sadness, the anger, the disappointment, or frustration, a need to stop the feeling of pain by creating these inflexible, unbending, and irrational approaches to every situation. And the reason I refer to them in that way because it's almost like trying to knock down a wall with a small hammer when these constitutional personal rights become your only modus operandus. And I do refer to them as their individual constitution. I also explain to them that I understand it is a way to protect oneself, to preserve oneself, to create emotional balance again after being hurt repetitively. And even though people, despite experiencing unfulfilling outcomes or limited outcomes or poor outcomes, these constitutional perspectives remain very effective and very useful and applied. They're like ironclad positions or healthcare positions that you may make on, like, if I lose blood, I would need to replace blood. They are like hard line in your emotional, functioning, where even the most rational responses may not seem rational at the moment because the fear of being overtaken and consumed is taking place once again. And it may not be of the same magnitude as the issue. It may just be what you have decided to do by having these constitutional individual statements. It may be what you decided to do in response to them. Okay, so you remember weeks ago I had shared with you the cycle of emotion, where the event, thoughts, feelings, behavior, and that kind of becomes the mode of all of us functioning. Something happens, we think about it, we feel about it, and then we behave accordingly or not so accordingly. And it becomes our routine to seek comfort. It becomes our routine to reduce the pain or the disappointment or the unfulfillment. And it becomes locked in and ingrained into how we view the world. And it's only through therapy and through prayer that this is exposed to you in order to change. Um, and so thinking about that over and over, we really have to look at where do our individual constitution mindset begins. And the fun thing about it is that it does not happen to starts in adulthood. It can. Now it can. But trust me, I have seen plenty of children and adolescents who had some very, very strong individual, independent constitutional rights to selves, to protect oneself, to preserve oneself, to create emotional balance again after being taken out of whack. We want to avoid and escape pain. That is a human survival need for all of us. However, making a stand to that degree sometimes leaves us even more vulnerable and also sometimes blocks us out of the better side of emotions as well. So when I say I've met the spectrum of people who have these constitutional, independent, individualized um, mindset, it can range from children, adolescents, from people of the faith. When I say the faith, of the holy faith, which for me could be Christian, but it can be any faith, Muslim, and Buddhism, and so forth. It's any individual. We've all made them. We all sort of govern ourselves from them as well. So one of the most known and common statements that I heard and probably said it myself is um, the best way to not be disappointed is to not expect anything. Woof. And that's loaded because it sounds like a strong fortress, but it's probably the depth of how much pain you've experienced. It's actually the expression, the visible mark or scar, what was left of you after so much pain has been experienced. So as a therapist and along with my peer therapists, I can't speak for all of us, to penetrate those individuals' constitution and programming takes time and it takes patience. Because when we start to hear those, some of us, is that it becomes our guide to look and explore and be curious about where did it come from? Where did you get to a place where you had to do that level of protection where you had that being flexible was just too much of a risk? And that inflexibility also provides us with a way to get underneath and uncover the pain that you've been wanting to avoid. And we do find that most of the pain that you have piled on top of pain really comes from the parental figure. And this is not to say the parental figure is the worst figure, the worst, is the cause of all of our problems individually or collectively. However, parents are people too. I'm one as well. But we learn through our parents and through our bigger community, how do we address anger, disappointment, and fear? And if you have found a certain way of people operating around you in those responses, the only thing you can do is create your own individual, independent, constitutional mindset to continue to preserve, protect, and bring yourself back to a balance of emotional health. So let me know, when yours come up. Sometimes we still carry them to this day, no matter what age we are. So if yours come up, kind of catch yourself seeing what you're doing at that moment. Try to catch yourself understanding why your response was so inflexible for that moment. And kind of see and kind of take the time and look at what brought that on for you, because what took place brought on a strong response. Those individual, independent, constitutional perspectives and mindset is really it's kind of like your last stands for battle. So in closing, I want to end with one of the most comforting scriptures. And it also highlights the character of our Jesus, of our God, for some who believe in that he understands broken hearts. And so in Psalms 34:18 from the NIV, it says, "The Lord is close to the brokenhearted, and he saves those who are crushed in spirit." I hope this was meaningful for you today. I look forward to seeing you tomorrow, and you have a great day. And try to catch yourself checking yourself when your independent constitution rights come up, because they surely will. Thank you for joining us today. Bye-bye.